Hello, welcome to the channel. So it's been a while I did this, but we are going to resume starting this week and we'll start looking at a weekly overview. I had a lot of things on the go with school and other stuff, so I took a little break, but we are back in business. So we had a lot of moves last week going into the weekends, a lot of big moves, like especially on stocks and stock indices. So we see a very significant shift in market on US 30, very big drop on US 30. And even with the market opening today, we see the momentum continue dropping to the downside. We have 0.56% drop in US 30 with the market open, 0.7 on S&P 500 and 1% drop on the Nasdaq. These are very significant moves. So the market has been moving a lot in this past few weeks. But before we start everything, let's look at the fundamentals for the week. All right, so on Monday, which is we're already in Monday, like it's 12 a.m. here, which is like 11:29, which is like it's about 2:30 a.m. GMT. So like we're already in Wednesday Asian session. So today is a GBP holiday, so there is not going to be a lot of movement with the GBP. Or it also means there could be a lot of crazy moves with the GBP. So when you have a gray folder, it means a bank holiday. So what that means is either there is going to be no movement in the market or other pairs are going to take advantage of that and make a lot of movement. So it can be a little tricky. So what you want to do is tomorrow you stay away from the pound pairs. So there is a FOMC member speaking around 3:45 p.m. So that is it's not the main event. So not expecting so much volatility, but depending on certain comments that he makes, it could be a market mover. So something to keep an eye on Monday. And on Tuesday, we have CPI for Euro CPI. Right. So we had if this happens, that would be, so we had the previous week was the previous CPI was 0.9, the forecast is 0.2. So if this forecast is predicting a good number for the CPI, so we'll keep an eye for that. So Tuesday we'll be expecting a lot of volatility in the market because of Euro CPI and USD consumer confidence, job openings. So these fundamentals are not something that I'm familiar with. If you've been following me, you know, like I'm not really a big fundamental person. CBE, consumer confidence, I don't know how that is affecting the market, but I look at my liquidity levels before the news and know where the direction is most likely going to go to. I just look for volatility and pay attention to levels that are created during those news events. Wednesday, we have a non-farm payroll employment change, ADP, non-farm NFP employment change report. And the other medium risk events that will be taking place. So we expect a lot of volatility coming into the market from Tuesday, Wednesday, especially with the USD. We have CPI for the Swiss franc and we have a ISM. So most of the movements we're expecting this week is USD based, but what we with the US dollar, we expect a similar movement with all the other instruments, because the US dollar is the most traded currency in the world. When the dollar is strong, the euro becomes weak, and the euro is weak, the pound becomes strong, and then it has that ripple effect on other currencies. So even though most of the news events are centered on the USD, it cuts across. If the dollar is volatile, everything is also volatile, right? So this is the fundamentals for the week. Most of the movements are centered around the euro, the CHF, and the dollar. So you need to keep an eye and know when these events are happening, and then keep note of the levels that are created. So let's go back to the charts. So to begin, let's look at US oil. So US oil has been making a very big decline. So I talked about this when price made this high here with this rejection here around $128. And I talked about this being the top for oil. We pull back to form a double top, and that is what we've been getting. And that has been the top for oil, and oil is dropping. So what do we have here for oil? From the way this market closed on Friday, we had that dodgy close on Friday. And today, Sunday, Monday, we see this push here. If you look on the 6-hour time frame, it looks a little different. So what we would like to see here is on the 6-hour time frame, we see price bouncing from here. But this bounce is sitting in this liquidity. So this is what I want to keep an eye on. So this next 6-hour candle is very important. Would like to see how this candle close within this level here. We have a very big bullish candle, but because we've not closed yet, we can make a call right now, depending on how this candle close. If we get a rejection from here, that means price is going to drop and continue pushing. And if we connect this level here, right, what we see is what this is a touch, break. So this could be weak a little bit, or even stay below here, and we get a drop. So from the market structure we have here, so far as price stays below this level here, I'm bearish on US oil. But if we get a break above this level here going into tomorrow, then we'll expect some movement going to the upside. When that happens, the level we'll be keeping an eye on is around this high here. If we get a break above here, then we'd expect the oil, US oil, to continue pushing to the next level around here. The structure is very similar on the 8-hour time frame. Very similar structure, same liquidity levels. We don't see much changes here. And same for the 12-hour as well. So on the 12-hour time frame, we see a very big rejection here to the upside. But it's, if you look at here, this is a ranging market. So what we see here is a push down and a ranging. We depend on how price closes here to determine how we would go here. So let me add my EMA here. All right, so this is showing bullish. We see price breaking and testing a retest of the EMA. Right, so currently we have a bullish sentiment in the market, but we still need to break above here for long-term bullish to the upside. And because of the way this level, as I highlighted on the 6-hour, is showing here, we could get a flip to the downside. So this is a little dicey, but now we treat it as bullish because we have a bullish sentiment at the moment. So that is US oil. So going into tomorrow, we would observe how this market react to the current levels, and then we would know what it expects long term going into Tuesday, Wednesday, the Dixie. So on Friday, we had this fake out here, and then a strong push to the upside. Currently, we've broken above this level here, which is very, very significant here. Very significant. If you look at the EMA, you see price it was a rejection of a fake out of this level and a rejection of the EMA. Very strong level. Let's look at a weekly time frame. So if you look at a weekly time frame, what do we see? Very strong bullish, but price is coming back to Wakefield this level here. It's just sitting around this week level here. What this means is price has ticked higher, like a few pips above that high here. Price has ticked a few pips above that high here, which is very significant. What it means is price has taken our liquidity to the upside here. So even though we are very bullish and price has broken above this level here, it is a little tricky depending on how price this candle closes. If this rejects and give us some rejection candle or a small bearish candle, that means we will get some retracement on the dollar. So mind you, we are still bullish, but this level that we are sitting on is a potential level for reversal here. So we'll keep an eye here. So here price has slightly broken this level, but again we are sitting on that level. So this is a very significant level for a potential reversal. So we are keeping an eye for that. It's giving this double top vibe here. So we'll keep an eye to see how it reacts. But if price makes an attempt to pull back and kind of reject this to the upside, we'll be going up long term because of what happened here. So because of this current movement, this gives more or less like an impulse and a correction vibe, and we could see another big impulse going to the upside, but this is a significant level for a potential reversal. So I will be looking at potential pullbacks here until price makes a major break to the upside for a continuation to the upside. So we are currently strong. We see there is a very significant pushes on the dollar. So GU made a very significant push on the market open. Euro USD, the same thing. So Euro USD, we see price is sitting in a very strong level here, strong liquidity level here, where we could see pullbacks coming in. AUD USD has broken the liquidity on the 4-hour time frame. AUD has broken the liquidity on the 4-hour time frame, but the next liquidity is sitting at this level here. So we could get a little more push. So I'm not analyzing AUD USD. I'm just trying to connect what we saw on the Dixie to what is happening here. We'll come back and break this down. So we see we already have very significant pushes on the dollar. Very significant pushes. So on market open, this has moved a lot. USD JPY. Over 100 pip push on USD JPY on the market open. USD CAD, similar push. About 50 pip push on USD CAD. Same for USD CHF. About 50 pips push. So the dollar is still very, very strong. Very, very strong. But as I said, keep an eye on this level here. Potential reversal. Right. So looking at the US oil, we could get a reversal from here or a continuation to the upside here. So Mondays are not really, if you have a move from Friday, those moves are most likely going to continue in the direction they started from Friday, right? But looking at the new state of the market for the rest of the week is a little tricky, especially on Sunday, Monday nights, to be looking at those analysis, especially if you're looking at long-term projection. Finally, let's look at the Jpy basket. So the Jpy basket, it tried to break up around here and then broke below here. Price is currently sitting in the H4 liquidity. But from the way we had a first rejection and pulled back and rejected the EMA, there is a high chance we are going to break below. If we break below, that means the yen's weakness is going to continue all the way to the next liquidity at this level here. So that means we have what? A weak yen. So weak yen means that CHF JPY would continue pushing out. So this is one of the trades I had from last week, but I took a loss at minus 9 pips, and then on Friday it started pushing up. Euro JPY. So we'd expect more pushes on the JPY pairs to the upside. Same for Jpy JPY, AUD JPY, NZD JPY, as the basket is weakening. So again, with this, we want to see how price react to this level here. If price does not break below this zone here for the continuation to the downside, this is what we will get here. We'll get a rhombus. It looks like we are setting up a rhombus here. So price is almost at the lower level of the rhombus. If we get a rejection here, then we could get something like this long term. And that means that if that happens, that means we'll be getting major reversals on the JPY pairs. Major reversal. That actually brings a lot of opportunity. So I am low-key gearing for this to happen, but whatever happens, we'll trade it as it is. When that happens, that will give us more opportunities here. More opportunities here. Because that means we could ride the JPYs for a very long time, but we're keeping an eye. So NZD JPY and AUD JPY looks like they are setting up for some sort of reversal here, but we'll keep an eye on that. And also see how the JPY baskets reacts to this current zone here. Yeah. So that is US oil, Dixie, and then the JPY basket. So I've not really made any clear calls on them. They all look at like they are sitting on major decision level for a very strong push. So one of them that I'll be keeping a close eye on is a JPY basket. If we get a rejection from here to the upside, that'll be nice. Long term, that will mean we'll be looking to sell all the JPY pairs. So now let's do a really quick run to most of the major pairs and see what we could expect on for the week. So I'm switching to the daily time frame now. So here on the daily time frame on the JPY basket, we have this level sitting slightly below here. So what this means is, from the way this market is going, we are most likely going to break that 4-hour level and tap into this daily level here. and it's at this level we might get what, a reversal to the upside. That means the JPYs are going to continue pushing a little bit to the upside before we look at potential reversal to the downside. But looking at what we saw on the 4-hour time frame on the basket, if price breaks this level, this is the daily level that we highlighted. So that is a lot of push to the downside, which would see pairs like Aud Jpy make a big push to the upside before we reverse. Aud Jpy, same thing. GJ, same thing. So it is very important to keep an eye on Jpy basket, especially inside the current level it is, to continue pushing to the downside, because we had like 4 days of rejection to the EMA before price pushed to this level here. So let's quickly glance through Euro GBP. So the euro is very strong, very strong. So markets open, we've had a very strong euro, about 28 pips push on the euro. The euro has run into this level. Now we had this liquidity sitting here. So what I'll be looking out for the euro is a weakness in the euro, which means the pound would pick some strength. And then from here, we'll see the euro taking up some momentum. So if you look at it on the daily time frame, you see we have a head and shoulders pattern. 1, 2, and then 3. So we see a very small pullback, which is not really small. It's about 70%, 70 pips drop from the current level here. When that happens, we'll be looking for potential push from this level here to the upside here. Euro GBP, that is something I'll be looking out for. So if we are looking at this for Euro GBP, we would expect something similar to happen on GBP CHF if you have a good understanding of correlation and how I look at the market, you understand this. So we have GBP CHF rejecting from this. Let me clean these charts and start afresh. So this was the level I was looking at. Because of the consolidation was too much, I gave up. So now price created another level here. So I'll be keeping an eye on this for something like this. A pullback down and then a continuation to the downside. When that happens, I'll be looking at price making an equivalent move. So this is what I'll be looking at. 1, keeping an eye for potential about 200 pips push on GBP CHF here, and we expect that to coincide with that of Euro GBP. So a push to the downside on Euro GBP, and that setup looks more clear on the daily time frame. On the 4-hour, it looks a little tricky. So we'd like to pay attention to how price reacts to the current level it's sitting on. If we get a pullback to the downside, then we would like to buy from here to the upside. So that is Euro GBP and then GBP CHF. Watching current level for a pullback to continue buying to the upside. So let me make this a little bit. I may not come back and mark this up again. So I'd like to draw this zone a little better. But this is a zone I'll be keeping an eye on. All right. AUD I've stopped trading this instrument, but I still look at it to determine which of the two pairs AUD and NZD is more stronger. So we had price rejecting a major psychological level, 0.2600. And we have this resistance here. So it makes a lot of sense for us to get a pullback down to this level here, which is about 86 pips from that current level to this level here. That means if that happens, we'll be expecting strong NZD. So NZD will be stronger than AUD from the setup we have right now. So in that case, if you're looking to how I treat this is, for instance, between AUD USD and NZD USD. If the NZD USD is looking to be stronger, NZD is looking to be stronger than AUD. It means that if I am to buy AUD USD or NZD USD, I'd rather buy what? NZD USD, because the strength of the NZD will make this move faster. So this is a potential level for a pullback into it. The same thing here. Potential pullback on the AUD. So we're keeping an eye on these pullbacks here. Here's the JPY has already taken off. At this point, if you are not in a buy already, there's nothing you can do. You just have to wait for price reaction at this level and then see if there will be an opportunity for a sell from this level. Aside that, you can't do anything from this level. So you just wait for how price react to this level to see if there will be a potential sell to this level down here. But aside that, you can't do anything now. So the best point to buy this was at the market open to continue pushing up. Same for USD CAD. So I did this analysis. I saw a continuous push to the upside to break the high. If we break the high, then we look out for a pullback to continue pushing up. But price is still sitting around the high, and we would still look out for how this breaks, because if that breaks, that would be good for a confirmation of a continuous push of the trend to the upside, and the pullback to this level would make a lot of sense for a continuous push for the rest of the week to the upside. So if we break above, push down, and a continuous push to the upside. So that is good. If this happens, we are most likely going to get about 150 pips and about 300 pips to the upside. So something to keep an eye on for the week. USD CHF. USD CHF has the same setup as the DXY. So something to, so let me show you. So you see this setup is the same. These two setups are the same. So USD CHF is the same as the Dixie. Like these pairs are almost the same, right? So the same thing we talked about for the Dixie applies to this. Price sitting on this level here. Potential level for a reversal. Or a break above this to continue pushing up. So remember what we talked about for the Dixie. The same applies for USD CHF because we have this similar setup here. So Euro CHF, I'm looking for a buy for Euro CHF. So when the market closed on Friday, I was looking at price continuing to push down and a push to the upside. We already have price reacting into the zone. Going into the New York session, I'll be looking for a buying opportunity. I don't want to take any trades now. I'll look at the New York session for a good entry to buy. All right, so this is the same Jpy Basket. More pushes to the downside. CHF JPY, this is also a missed buy move. We can't do anything on this for now. We just have to wait for the TP to hit. And then from there, we'll look out how the yen is reacting to see if we are going to get a continuous push to the upside or a reversal on this. Similar situation for Euro JPY. Card JPY, the same thing. So we talked about these things when we talked about the yen. GBP JPY, little tricky. We would like to see if we get that pullback we talked about on the Euro GBP and that of GBP CHF. I believe you remember. If we get this pullback here, that would mean strong GBP. So that would make this continue to push up. This will make the GJ push up. This is something I'll actually be looking for because GJ is the only JPY pair that is yet to move. The only JPY pair that is yet to move. We had this low, price pushed up, created this level here like that. And if you are looking at this, what you see is it looks like we have this corrective push and price is testing this level here. So this makes a lot of sense for price to continue pushing to the upside. Worst case scenario, just to fill the wick here. From current level to fill the wick is about 100 pips, not that bad. But I'll wait and see how price reacts to this level to find an entry in the New York session. AUD JPY similar to the other JPY. We want to see price continue pushing up. Around this level, we'll look at potential reversal on that. Same for NZD JPY, just like I highlighted. Continue push to the upside. Around this level, we'll look for potential selling opportunity. GU, I'll be keeping an eye for a pullback to this level so that this pullback should fall in line with GJ push to the upside, Euro GBP push to the downside, and GBP CHF push to the upside. So here I'll be looking for the pullback to the upside to continue selling. So the sell is not done. We'll look for pullback to the upside So that also presents with nice buying opportunities. So I like trading GBP USD a lot. So I would keep an eye on current level for the price action here to find a good entry to buy this to the upside, because this presents really good good amount of pips here. So my first, if I get an entry here, the first target will be this gap here. This gap here will be my first target. This is about 67 pips, and the next target will be 130 pips. And then from there, we would look to sell again from that level. That is a really big zone sitting above there. So if we get our pullback on Euro GBP, just like I mentioned, to the downside, that is going to coincide with GBP USD push up, GJ push up. Actually, this GJ trade looks good. GJ trade looks good. So we have price sitting on this psychological level, 1.61500. Rejection from the psychological level, 1.6500. And this is a good trade. It's a good trade. You can go for a long here, but your stop should be below here. And then go for 93 pips here. I think this makes sense. US 30. This is a lot of extension. Price almost entered into this liquidity and then rejected from that level. It's a little tricky on this one. We have price tapping into this liquidity with a gap left here. So how I would like to treat this is, price has a very high chance of making it back to this level here, to test this level here at least, and the next liquidity here before it continues pushing down. This is a big momentum push, and a lot of liquidity has been left to the upside. But the only time I'll be buying is when price is above this level. So if price is able to break the gap to the upside, I'll be looking to buy this to this level here, or this to this level here. So this will be a first target and a potential second target here. The Nasdaq is still super bearish, right? So the reason why this is a little tricky is because of the way the Nasdaq looks. Very super bearish. So on the Nasdaq, what I see is continuous push into this level here before we look for the retracement. When that happens, we are most likely going to see a similar thing happening on the US 30, which means a continuous push on the US 30 into the level proper before we start getting the pullback to the upside. So even though the US 30 looks like we've already tapped into liquidity and is pushing up, on the US 30, I want to see price above the gap before I buy. With the Nasdaq, I want to see price continue drop to the downside into this liquidity, and then I'll look for potential buys to the upside. Mind you, we are still bearish. So around here, I'll still be looking for short opportunity going to this level here. So just a small pullback and then sell. We've talked about GBP CHF pullback to continue selling. Euro USD. Price is sitting in this liquidity back to this level here. So what we have is a triple bottom here. 1, 2, 3. We're most likely going to get a pullback back up here to continue selling, similar to what we talked about for Aud Jpy, right? If that happens, that would give us confirmation on USD CHF. So that means USD CHF would also make a pullback to continue buying. So we already have this rejection here. That means Dixie should also be doing the same thing, right? So that's why I said you should keep an eye on that level for potential pullback to the downside. So things are setting up, and in the next few hours, getting into London session, it's almost 4 hours to London session. So if we get a strong bearish close here, we might get more momentum push to the downside here. Right. So we just wait for more data to come in to give us more idea on what to expect. Yeah. And AUD USD, NZD USD has already started pushing. Here, I'm not going to take a buy from here, but if Euro USD and everything start pushing back, we are going to get that same pullback. But what I'll be looking for is a sell from this zone here. I'll be looking to short this from here. If price pulls back here, I'll be looking to short this from this zone. Same for AUD USD. I pull back here, and I'll be looking to short this from here. NZD card is most likely, right? We already have that push coming in already. So keeping an eye on this level here. If we get a pullback into this level, we'll get price pushing to the downside. I don't know what is happening with the US oil. Well, price is still sitting around the same level. So yeah. Would expect the same thing for AUD card as well. So we had a very nice trade from last week. Price pushing all the way, just waking the TP and pushing back. So we are done. This is a done trade. It's a past issue now. Let's look at this. Price is now sitting on this liquidity here. It makes a lot of sense for price to continue pushing back to the upside before it continues selling. So if you look at a bigger picture here, what you see is a big head and shoulders pattern. Yeah. I think this section has been a very long session. A big head and shoulders pattern. So there is a potential for price to push back and continue pushing like that. So I'll be keeping an eye. I may not be taking a lot of buys for the retracement. It's about 70 pips. I don't think I might trade this. I'd rather look for a selling opportunity when price comes into this zone here to the downside. That's how I'll be looking to treat this. So that's a very big pullback on GN here. So from what we've looked at with the GBP, if we get a strong pullback on Euro GBP, it means we are going to get a retracement coming in. This is the retracement because we are in an uptrend, right? Sorry. This is the retracement. This is the level to keep an eye on. This level here. And also that liquidity here on the H4. So a continuous push here to this level. And this is where we would start looking for a buying opportunity to the upside for about 200 pips. So this is a level to keep an eye on here. This is a good level to keep an eye on. We'll see a similar thing for GA. So GA, let me see if there is any liquidity sitting below here. This was a very nice sell here. Tap into liquidity for the drop. There's not really any level here, but what we would like to do is to look at this psychological level. 1.7 level here. We would want to see how price react to this level here. So price to continue pushing. Depending on how price reacts to this level, we're looking to go long from here to this level here and take partial profit around this liquidity here. So we're expecting a similar movement just like that of GN. So GN also should continue pushing to this level, and we look for potential buying from here, depending on how price reacts to this level. And all this should coincide with the push up on GU, GJ, and then GBP CHF, just like we looked at earlier on. EN should have this similar push here. So we should see EN continue pushing to the downside. So this is tricky. EN could come all the way here to this liquidity here. Yep, that is possible because we are looking at a weak euro. When if this drops, that will be a weak euro. So that weak euro is going to cause NZD, and we already talked about potential strength in NZD. It's going to cause that NZD to take advantage of the euro to drop to this liquidity level, drop, and then a push to the upside. So this is a potential 180 pips, but I don't think I'll be looking at this sell here. Depending if we get a pull to the upside. So right now we've created this liquidity to the upside. If this thing closes bearish and price tapped into the level, that I would sell for to the downside here, and then we'll look to buy again. So Euro NZD looks like a good selling opportunity here. Look, a good selling opportunity here for about 200 pips here. That would translate to a similar push on Euro AUD. So Euro AUD, there's a level sitting here that I was keeping an eye on Friday. Yep, we already tapped into that level, but we still have the potential for price to push down into the level again. So depending on how price reacts to this zone, I'll be looking to short this. I might not go way lower like that. I might take profit around this level here. And that would be a potential of 130 pips. But if we go lower to this level, that's 160 pips. Then from there, we would look to buy again. Because if you look at the trend technically, this is what you see. We've broken out of this trend. I'm not really a trend line person. I'm just using this line to show you that the momentum of the market has shifted to the downside, not like I'm connecting any level here. Right. So here, depending on how price reacts here, we'll be looking to go long. And this would be a long-term long after this pullback here. So something to keep an eye on. So what this means is NZD CHF is also looking to push all the way back into these levels here. All the way back into this level here. But a pullback would make a lot of sense. What do I mean? If this comes back a little bit, that would be a good buying opportunity for the buy, and then we'll later sell when price gets into this zone. The same scenario will be for AUD/CHF. So AUD/CHF actually looks clean currently because it's sitting on the psychological level. So it makes a lot of sense to start moving from here to the next psychological level from about 100 pips. We could go higher, but because we have this psychological level sitting at just around, is this 50 pips here, I think. Yeah, 50 pips push. But this is where you would want to actually target, because if price start pushing, this is where it's going to go to. Push here and then drop to the downside long term. So these are like long-term projection, but we'll make a decision to sell here when price is here. We'll find an entry to sell here. But here, looking at what we have a double bottom sitting on this psychological level, 0.66500. So it makes a lot of sense for price to push up here. And this is also in line with what we've looked at for the other pairs. Part CHF push to the upside and then drop. Euro card, that means Euro card would push down and then drop to the push to the upside, right? I'm trying to wrap up. That's why I'm going a little faster. If you're watching a video, you can pause it and slow it down and watch later. So this is how I'll be looking to treat Euro card. A drop to the downside and a push to the upside. Gold. Gold is still bearish. Gold is still bearish. Very bearish. These are potential levels to keep an eye on. A pullback into this level. If price does not push all the way down up to that level, this one will get push here and drop. If we break above, push here and drop. Those are the two levels to keep an eye on for gold. Oh, that was silver. Sorry, that was silver. That was silver. So on gold, this is a level to keep an eye on. Similar structure. Pull back and drop. Pull back and drop. So this level and that level and levels to keep an eye on. So short term buying opportunity either to this zone or that zone and then selling down, right, on gold. I don't know if I should look at BTC now or we should look at a new video for BTC. So if you've been following me, you know I've been bearish on BTC for a long time. Price dropped to this level here. And the next level that we're looking at was this zone here before we continue pushing down. But what price did was we created a new liquidity here and another liquidity here. So there is going to be a pullback. So that pullback is either going to reject from this zone and drop or go a little higher into this zone and drop. So right now it looks like 11K makes a lot of sense for BTC. If we test this and we break this level, the next level that we have going would be 11K. The next liquidity that we spoke about sitting below here. 10,900 or 11K. Right? So that is BTC. So I hope you get some nice setups here, and then on Tuesday I'll come up with an update. That's where we actually look at the main projection for the week, and then we'll see what the market gives. So may the pips be with you this week, and we'll meet some other time. I think this is a very long session. I don't know how long I've even been talking.